It's that place no man wants to be. You're having what seems to be a normal conversation when she volunteers it. My ex used to. And at once, the comparison game begins. Maybe she's pointing out something you did differently. Maybe she's recalling something he had. Either way, it stings. You can't help but wonder why she's comparing you to someone from her past, someone who clearly wasn't right for her, or she'd be with him today. It's maddening, confusing, and if we're honest, it can plant seeds of insecurity that grow into relationship-destroying problems. I've worked with couples for years dealing with the intricate landscape of relationship dynamics, and this issue comes up time and time again. Men feel belittled when their partner compares them to exes. Women usually don't know the effect these comparisons have. And below the surface, something much deeper is always going on, something neither person has a full understanding of. Let's cut through the vagueness and get to the heart of what's really going on when a woman compares you to her ex. Because once you understand the underlying psychological forces at work, you have the power to fix the real issue, not the symptom. First of all, we have to accept an uncomfortable truth. Comparisons are natural and inevitable. The human brain is a comparison machine. We understand new experiences by relating them to previous ones. This isn't something people consciously choose to do. It's how our neural pathways function. When your partner has been in previous relationships, those experiences became part of her mental framework for understanding romantic connections. They shaped her expectations, her fears, and her definition of what feels normal in a relationship. This doesn't make it any easier to hear comparisons. But knowing that they are a result of an automatic mental process instead of an intentional effort to make you feel inadequate can make it easier to depersonalize the situation. So what is actually going on when she compares you to an ex in words? There are a number of possibilities, and knowing which one you are facing is important for how to address it effectively. Sometimes, these comparisons are backhanded compliments. My ex never noticed when I was upset could be her thanking you for your emotional intelligence. My ex and my friends were not compatible could be her way of indicating how at home you are in her friend group. The problem is that even positive comparisons keep her ex alive in your relationship, an unspoken third person that neither of you needs. In other cases, comparisons stem from unresolved pain. If she was betrayed or hurt in her previous relationship, she might be acutely sensitive to the same patterns repeating themselves with you. When she says, "My ex always canceled plans last minute too," she's not necessarily talking about canceled plans so much as she is about fear that you will hurt her in the same way she's been hurt. Comparison is a defense mechanism, a way of warning of potential danger on the basis of prior experience. Likewise is also the probability of her using comparisons as circumlocution. Several women struggle directly stating their wants or desires. Rather than whining, "I need more quality time with you," she might say. "My ex and I always had date night once a week." Rather than asking for more cuddling, she might observe how physically affectionate her previous partner was. These comparisons are really requests in sheep's clothing, bluntly expressed, but rooted in actual relationship needs. And yes, sometimes comparisons do mirror that she hasn't yet processed the breakup of her previous relationship. She might still be figuring out what didn't work, what she'll miss, or what she's glad to be rid of. In those cases, you're essentially observing her internal processing in real time, and it can feel like you're competing with a ghost from her past. Now that we have an idea of what is driving these comparisons, let's talk about getting them to quit. Because whatever the reason, having your current relationship compared continually to others will put undue strain on it and prevent the two of you from fully enjoying what you're making together. Step 1 is intuitive but works. Validate her experience. When she is comparing, your instinct is probably to defend or push her away. But try instead to respond back with empathy and interest. That obviously meant a lot to you. Tell me why that's so important. This does several things at once. It shows you're listening. It shifts the attention away from her ex and onto her feelings and needs. And it gives you valuable insight into what she seeks in relationships. Then, establish a soft boundary. After you've empathized with her experience, you can explain to her how comparisons affect you. "I like that you let me know. I want to hear about what matters to you. But if you frame it in relation to your previous one, I'm having a difficult time listening. Can we talk about what you're hoping for in our relationship without framing it in relation to others? This is not closing down communication. This is redirecting it in a healthier way. Creating new reference points is a powerful strategy. The majority of comparisons are made because her primary relationship experiences have been with someone else. The more unique experiences you create together, the less she'll need to draw on old relationships to talk about herself. Introduce new activities, rituals, and ways of relating that are unique to your relationship. These become your own language and reference points, which ultimately take the place of drawing on old relationships. Pay attention to patterns in her comparisons. They typically have the answer to information regarding her unmet needs or relationship values. If she keeps comparing the way her ex talked to you or the amount of time spent together to her previous relationship, she's telling you what matters to her. Address the need beneath, not the comparison. I noticed that you've mentioned your ex calling during the day. Would you like us to discuss other means we can catch up when we're at work? A good tactic is also to promote your special chemistry in your relationship. Every relationship has special chemistry, positives, and possibilities. Rather than trying to compete with her ex in some ways, promote what sets your relationship apart. I understand that each relationship has its strength. I particularly like how we something unique about your relationship. This politely reminds both of you that it is not fair to compare different relationships. They can both be wonderful in their own ways. Sometimes the urge to compare is an indication that she has not actually confronted her previous relationship yet. Under such circumstances, making space for her to talk regarding that relationship, not in opposition to yours, but on its own terms with things to gain and closure to be experienced, can be advantageous. This would appear to be counterintuitive. Why is it that you wish to discuss her ex? But allowing her some space in which to negotiate these ideas through you, as opposed to over you, can accelerate healing and draw you in. If comparisons continue despite these efforts, ask yourself if there could be underlying attachment issues. Our childhood relationships and family dynamics determine the way we enter adult relationships. Some people develop an anxious attachment style with excessive comparing and reassurance seeking. Others develop avoidant patterns that can prompt comparisons from partners who feel emotionally shut down. Awareness of these patterns can enable you to work on the underlying issue instead of just the symptom. Remember that it will take time for her to break the pattern of comparison. If she's been calculating relationships in this way for decades, a change overnight doesn't occur. Be patient and consistent in your response. Each time you redirect her from comparing to a healthier discussion of what your relationship contains uniquely, you're helping her build new habits of thought. By doing this, cultivate your confidence and self-awareness. The safer you are in your sense of yourself, of who you are and what you bring to the relationship, the less threatening these comparisons will be. This isn't about having a big ego or rejecting valid feedback. It's about knowing that you're not your wife's ex, and you shouldn't be one either. You're yours with your own positives, which she was drawn to, and those differences, those distinctions are assets, not liabilities. It's also worth considering if you might be unconsciously keeping the comparison dynamic going. Do you ask her about her previous relationships? Do you ever compare her to your previous relationships? Do you get visibly upset when she discusses her previous, which might actually make it more noticed? We unconsciously keep relationship dynamics going all the time. In some cases, particularly when comparisons are frequent and seem to be meant to make you feel inferior, you may need to wonder if there is a deeper incompatibility. Some people use comparisons as a manipulation or control technique. If you suspect this might be true, trust your instincts and wonder if the relationship is truly healthy for both of you. Most of the couples do, however, undergo this habit of comparison and grow a more potent, present connection. You find space for something completely new to grow between you by learning how to solve your needs and concerns directly and not bringing in past relationships into the equation. The past has no control any longer. Things become clearer for the present, and the future opens up full of possibilities. The ultimate goal isn't just to put an end to the comparisons. It's to create a relationship so distinctively your own that comparisons become irrelevant. This is when you're both fully engaged in creating your own narrative together, when you've built such a strong collective identity as a couple that old relationships fade into the distance where they belong. Keep in mind that beneath its surface, the habit of comparison is never really about needing to be with someone in the past. It's about trying to make sense of now and establishing security for tomorrow. By meeting those deeper needs with kindness, clarity, and courage, you take what was a source of friction and turn it into a doorway for real connection. And that no comparison can ever take away.